So as you guys can already tell, today's going to be a little bit different than our normal Sunday. My name is Will Prater, and I have been a member of this congregation for just over 5 years. Before I was here, I was in the Nashville UU. Before that, I was separate of all religion. I couldn't be around religion at all. And before that, I was in a Christian cult. So I've been through some stuff, as all of us have. We've all been through journeys. I had to step outside because I needed a minute. Because anybody who knows me knows that I'm a very emotional person, and I didn't want to bring a bunch of emotion today. So I've been working this morning on helping myself to be more grounded. Whether or not that'll work in my favor, I'm not really sure, because I'm sure some of you may notice that the oomph that I usually speak with might be a little absent today, because I need to keep myself grounded. So today's talk was about, it's called Every Voice Matters, Especially Yours. So I wanted to start off on maybe not the greatest note, but I feel like it's important. I've had a couple of experiences over the last few weeks of one of somebody calling me a name, and one of somebody saying something, not realizing that someone I was very close to was sitting right next to them and overheard what they said. And these two experiences have affected me to the point where the name that I was called, one night I stayed up all night trying to figure out how I was supposed to assume best intent. It's always amazing to me because, and I don't think that the name that I was called was important, and I don't think the person who called me needs to be called out, because that's not important. It amazes me that our words have such power. And it amazes me that you can be around one person and that person can color your entire experience of something. And, you know, for somebody who is deeply emotional like I am and feels things sometimes way too deeply, it can make you walk away from things. It can make you not want to be a part of some groups. Now, the exact opposite can be true as well. If someone is uplifting and someone says lots of stuff to encourage you, it can make you want to stay a part of an organization. If you have enough people that are positive with you, even something that you're not super passionate about, you can remain passionate about. I'm trying. I'm very passionate about this church. I am in love with each and every one of you for different reasons. Even the people that I don't necessarily get along with, I'm in love with, because each one of you helps me to be a stronger person, helps me to learn. About a year and a half ago, I had the ability to take on a new role in the church, which was an incredible blessing. I have been serving as the director of programming for the last, not year and a half, but year and about a month. I got some training in there, luckily, so that, you know, made it a lot easier. And in that year and a half, we've seen a lot of things change. Some big, some smaller. But one of the biggest things that I brought in with me is that I don't know how to make solo decisions. I'm very, very, very bad at it, because that's not how my brain is built. When I write a story, I have to send it out to 10 people to beta it. to give me their thoughts and their feedback, because that's what I need. So that was wonderful for this role, because it fed into part of that job, talking to people and getting their feedback and making changes based on what you all want. So I know that this seems a little overwhelming, a 3-page survey. It can be daunting. And I did part of this survey a year ago, and I decided to revise it. And then I decided that I wanted it to be part of a church service, because as anybody who goes to Bel Air knows, they don't give homework. And a lot of people don't believe in homework because they don't want to take something home to fill out. So I wanted to do this survey as part of a service, because I believe that each and every one of you, whether you are brand new, this is your first time being here, or you've been here for 50 bajillion years, you were here when the building was built, or maybe you were there with Methuselah, that's fine, It doesn't matter, your voice is valid. So with this particular survey, if you would like to put your name on it, you're more than welcome to. If you want to leave it anonymous, please do so. And if you choose not to fill out the survey, that's your call. I don't want anybody to feel pressured to fill it out. But I want to do my job built around what this church needs. So there are 3 pages. I'm going to run through it really quickly. So the first page is activities. And we've talked, I've been getting together with what we've called the activities committee for, 6 months, 8 months. We've been doing it for a while. And we just loosely go out to lunch and we discuss what we want to do as a church. And this is a list. It is unabbreviated. Anybody who brought an idea forward, it got put on the list. So I really would like your feedback on things that you personally would love. So in the first column it says, I want to make this happen. Now if you want to make this happen, you're going to have to put your name at the top, because I need to know who feels the most enthusiastic about these things. I want to be a part of this. That means that you don't necessarily want to organize it, but you would love to be a part of it. And then there's those people who this should happen, but that's not really my cup of tea. That's valid as well. No, it shouldn't happen. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm skipping one. I don't care either way. So for me, there are some events that you're just kind of that's great. I don't care one way or another. And then the last column is no, it shouldn't happen. Now, my only caveat to this is I would ask, if you say no, it shouldn't happen, please put a reason. We're not in that place. We don't want to do this. We don't want to travel to Nashville. We don't feel that this is. Now, if you decide to leave that column blank, that's your choice. That's a valid choice. And so a lot of these are self-explanatory. I'm not going to go through each and every one of them. But if you have questions about any of them, I would love for you, if you want to take a minute now to raise your hand and ask them, you're more than welcome to. If you want to ask it during talkback, you're more than welcome to. Yes, sir.
What's this Hunter Museum?
The Hunter Museum is a museum in Chattanooga. Thank you. So we've been talking about us doing road trips various places, and so somebody brought up Hunter Museum in Chattanooga, and so it got put on the list.
Is that like a museum of art?
Okay. There you go.
The name Hunter.
There you go.
I ain't down killing stuff. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And please feel free to ask questions about any of these. Yes, ma'am.
Storytelling.
There are a couple of different storytelling festivals that go on around our area, and so they had talked about doing storytelling festivals, but if you've got a different idea, I'm happy with that.
Storytelling is the library, so I'm not sure how that was going to work.
Gotcha. Okay. Now you'll notice at the bottom it says, please feel free to write your suggestions for events, field trips, classes, and local engagement.
Oh, yeah,
So that's a super important one because I want you to feel free to talk about your passions, whatever they might be. If you say, I want to shoot into outer space,
yes.
Well then guess what? I love you. I don't know how to facilitate that, but I will give it my best shot, and I will talk to Peter, and I will talk to anybody else I can talk to and figure out if there's a, you and Peter? Peter and Chuck will hook you up, okay? So it's just, I really wanted to open the door, and I know that a lot of people, they can't make it to the events committee meetings, so I just really wanted to open the floor for that. And you're more than welcome when we get into talk back to give ideas or give suggestions or whatever you'd like to do. So with that, I'm going to move to the second sheet. And please know that you'll have time to come back to each one of these. You turn them in. I would like for you to turn them in by the end of talkback, if at all possible. However, if you need more time, if you want to write a novel, then you feel free to write a novel, and you can give it to me at any point in the future. But my hope is that I can take whatever you give me today, consolidate it all, and take it to the board meeting next week, so that they can kind of have an idea of the temperature of the congregation. So the second sheet, this was actually taken from a survey that was done in 2016. And I just took it and retyped it. I stole it. For all other intents and purposes, I stole it. So the first two parts of this are, just, the first one is 1 through 5. And it's kind of self-explanatory. The second one, we've been talking a lot about potlucks. Now, the reason why the potluck question is on there again is because we've noticed, as we got together in the Social Action Committee and we got together as the Events Committee, we noticed that our contribution to the various causes has gone down at least $25 for every cause every year. As we've continued on. So if you'll notice on the third page, which we're going to get to in just a second, there's a list of causes. But the reason why the potluck is on there is because back in 2011, the Social Action Committee, I believe it was called, it might have been the Social Justice, was it Social Action? Okay. Back in 2011, there was a group of people that got together and they decided that all these different things. They made wonderful suggestions about ways that people could turn in, I really want this foundation to get money, and here's why, and here's how they align with the UU principles, and all that kind of stuff. They came up with a whole form for that, which hopefully will be re-implemented at some point. But they also decided that they were going to do monthly potlucks. And the monthly potluck was to start bringing in funds for these different foundations, and they had one nonprofit per month. Well, back about 3 years ago, we noticed that we were having some struggles and people were getting a little burnt out, and we noticed that we needed to give everything a break. And so we started pulling back on the amount of things that we did, and one of the decisions that was made based on the survey at that point was we went to a bi-monthly potluck structure. And that affected the amount of charities that we could give to. Because if we weren't doing it every month, we obviously weren't raising the same amount of money. So now that we have this influx of new people, and we have people that are 2-3 years later in their mindset, we felt like it was a question that could be reintroduced. And please understand that I ran that through Miss Lucy, because that potluck does not happen without Miss Lucy. But one of the things that we're trying to do is that we're trying to get the Social Action Committee to work with Miss Lucy if the congregation decides that we do want to go back to a monthly potluck. That's if. Okay? So one of the questions that was on my survey a year ago was, if you could pick any subject and have it talked about at church, what would it be? Y'all, we come up here, Charity and I and all the board, every person who is a guest speaker, we do what we do based on your feedback. and we do what we do for you. And so we want to make sure that we're incorporating your feedback and what you want to talk on. And in my personal belief structure, if one person wants it, I will look into it and see if somebody wanted a genealogy talk. And I said, I think that's brilliant. If you're willing to come in and lead it, I'll put it on the books. If one person is willing to put in the effort to make it happen, or super passionate about it wanting to happen, and they don't know how to make it happen, I will help. And y'all know I'm a social butterfly, so I can pull some voodoo or magic or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Voodoo's maybe not the best one. And then the next question is about musicality and theater events. I am a huge theater person. So I love doing theater stuff here. And the Hamilton's event, that was the first theater type event we had done. We did A Woman Called Truth back in November. We did Hamilton's. But the last time that I'm aware of anything, according to Miss Lucy's notes, was how long ago did Mr. Knoll do the play here? Do you remember?
How long did what?
How long ago did he do that? Do you remember? It was a play on bullying that Noel did here. Do you remember? I just asked her because she's got a brain like a whoa. I can't remember half the stuff that's in her head. That's fine. The point is that with me being a heavy theater person, it's easy for me to be like, we're going to have skits every week. We're going to do theater stuff every week. The problem is that I don't get to make that executive decision. I want you guys to tell me what you want. In Nashville, we had skits, particularly around the different pagan holidays. We had a skit where we had the Holly King and the Oak King fighting on stage. And, you know, it was fun. So if that's something that we're interested in, and the other part of it is for Mr. Bill, so that he knows, hey, we really want to do more music, or we feel like we're doing enough, we even want to do less, or whatever. It's so that I can give him feedback on what you guys are thinking. The next one is regarding community outreach. Are there events that you would like to see us participate in or host here? So this is going to fall more on the Social Action Committee. And Jennifer, who is our chair of that committee, and Brian, who I don't know if he's comfortable with it, but he's the co-chair of that committee. That's going to be something that they're going to help out with. One of the things that was not on the events was a nonprofit fair, where we brought in a bunch of nonprofits and set them up in the other room and had them just distribute out information, and we could invite community members here, and the people that are a part of the congregation could come here and learn about all these different nonprofits that we have in this area. There's some that I had no idea about. Coffee County, Keep Coffee County Beautiful. I just, because of Renee, found out where the recycling center and the composting stuff could be given to you for free. So I'm learning about a lot of different things, and as I get around you and I get around Tristan, and Tristan tells me about tie-dye, I get excited about that, and Mr. Bob as well. I mean, as you guys tell me about these different things, and Wyatt, when we do our tie-dye event, is going to talk about tie-dye and kind of where it came from and that kind of stuff, but it's just, you know, community events that we maybe want to host here or that we want to be a part of. And then on the third part, it says, would you be interested in talking face-to-face or over the phone about these questions? If you want to talk to me about stuff and you don't want to talk about it in front of the entire group, please feel free. Like, that's why I'm here. I'm here for you all. So the last part of this is kind of self-explanatory. It has in bold print, what are the causes you feel most passionate about? So we have a lot of different causes within this congregation. And we have a lot of different charities that we give to. And the top part of this is kind of a consensus on the causes that you feel the most passionate about. GLBT rights, immigration, animal charities, all these various things And then there's a brief description under the various categories, because I went on Google and found the 6 categories of charity. And then I realized that the 6 categories of charity didn't encompass everything that I thought of, so I added a few on there. So like, if you fit there, cool. The reason why there's a yes or no, circle yes or circle no for me, please. And then if you have one that you just absolutely in love with, or you really want us to learn more about, write it on the line beside it. Tell me about it. Tell me its name, if nothing else, so that I can research it, so that we can research it. Because this is not just going to me. This is going to Jennifer and Brian and Charity and Rick and so many members of you guys, because we're all going to work together to see what we can do to make this more about you. So the last part on this is, I don't think it's SJMO.
Okay, I could not figure that one out until I.
It's social justice, the one that Cynthia's a part of.
Unitarian Universalist.
No, it's not that one. It's they decided to make a social justice group for Tennessee, and Cynthia's a part of it.
It's the UU Justice.
But is that the name of it? Because I thought that was the big.
No, it's UU Justice Ministry.
Okay. So that's the one I meant to put there. So if that's one, Karen talked about the Black Lives UU. If that's something that you're super enthusiastic. The main part of the bottom part of this is because a lot of these are foundations that we give to. And so we kind of want to gauge the temperature of what you guys want to throw money towards, what you would feel comfortable in me bringing speakers in about. I did add on there the South Jackson Civics Association, and the reason why I added that one is because that's a personal passion of mine. The South Jackson Civic Association is a network of 21 mom and pop businesses in Tullahoma that offer to give a discount if you're a part of the South Jackson Civic Association. And it's a way to become more grassroots, more local oriented, if you're in Tullahoma, because most of them are in Tullahoma. And unfortunately, what we're seeing as we're getting more Publix and big chain stores in here, it's wiping out the mom and pop businesses. And one of the things that I love about Tullahoma is that, yes, Publix is awesome, that's great. But we need to have a balance.
Yes.
We need to be respectful of our local businesses as much as we're patronizing the bigger businesses. Yes, it's cheaper sometimes to go to the bigger businesses, but sometimes it's better to just have the feeling. Last night I went to a mom and pop stand, and I didn't tell Julie this, I'm sorry. I went to a mom and pop restaurant, and I spent nearly $40 for a meal. I don't feel bad about that, because it was a mom and pop business. You know, I feel less bad if I'm spending a little bit more for a mom and pop place than I do if I'm spending $40 at Applebee's. Applebee's doesn't care if it gets my money. They don't care. Although Bojangles is closing. Go figure out that one.
Are they?
Yeah.
We need another chicken place.
A little bit over 2 years. They built that place from the ground up, and now it's closing. Yes, ma'am.
Could you give a quick one line, since these are the organizations that we currently donate to, could you just give a little one line as to what they are?
Yeah, as best as I can.
Okay.
So Imagination Library, they give kids books to kids ages 0 to 5. 4? 5. That's what I'm singing. And it's something that Dolly Parton started. It's a wonderful foundation. And Barbara Snyder, who's no longer with us, that was her big passion, was Imagination Library. And do I?
It's always free.
Yes, it's always free. Habitat for Humanity, I hope you all know about them. They build houses from ground up, and then they donate them to various people with a slight fee. I don't know the fine-tuning of it. The Alzheimer's Association, obviously, that's one that, you know, people feel one way or another about, and that's fine. because I've had some conversations about it, but they're working towards finding a cure for Alzheimer's. Haven of Hope, y'all know about because Kelly was here. You can watch Katie's video of it because Katie does a phenomenal job of archiving all of our sermons, which you can find at Tullahoma.
Go to YouTube and put in UU.
But what is our website that Doug always connects them to? I never go to it.
I googled UU.
Okay, there you go. So 5 loaves for kids. Kids that are in low income situations, or maybe their families are a little bit more financially stressed. These people get together, and once a week they put together little baggies of stuff and send it home with the kids, so that when the kids are out for the weekend, they have snacks and they have meals, and it's incredible. I didn't know how incredible until Julie and I became recipients of that particular service, because we've got 3 foster kiddos. But I didn't know how phenomenal, like, what they do. So I'm a huge advocate of that. Head Start, Miss Lynn could give a better description on Head Start. Do you know about it, Bob? Because I know that that's...
Head Start is for at-risk children in preschool.
Yes.
And they also do social work with the parents and try and help the families out.
There you go. Animal shelter, obviously we have a lot of animals that are dumped off on the side of the road and whatnot. The animal shelter is where they generally go, but I don't think the animal shelter does kittens, cats. I think they only do dogs. I'm thinking. I may be wrong on that.
Animal Harbor does.
Animal Harbor is similar to the animal shelter, but Animal Harbor,
They do cats.
there you go.
And they're returning.
The Coffee County Children Advocacy, I don't know a lot about that one, so does anybody?
I know they provide services for, well, of course. Never mind.
This is part of the reason why we're bringing in guest speakers for these, because I didn't know what Haven of Hope was until Kelly came.
I know the person that runs that though.
Partners for Healing. Partners for Healing is another one that we've used. They provide medical care for the working people that can't afford insurance. So it's an awesome service. We've not unfortunately, that's not the right word. We've had to utilize them more than a few times, because for a long time Julie was a temp, therefore we didn't have insurance, but she was employed, so we use their services, and they're incredible. And then Black Lives Matter, Karen talked about, and then the
UU Justice Ministry.
Thank you, the UU Justice Ministry. Cynthia did a talk on that one not too long ago, so if you want to find out more about the social justice group, then just look up Cynthia Winamark. I don't know how to say her last name. But Katie, maybe you and I could work together on getting links to these on the UU page. I know they're in the archive, but it'll make it easier access.
Just offhand, it's
Yes, sir.
specifically Black Lives of UU, which is a group. It's not Black Lives Matter.
Thank you. Thank you for that correction. I don't know if I misstated that or not.
Black Lives Matter here. So,
Well, do you want our names on all 3 pages? I noticed our name.
If you would, please put your name on all 3 pages if you want to acknowledge that these are yours, because they will inevitably get separated. Because
Have you seen my staplers?
Do I?
Staplers?
I'm not allowed to use staplers. Sorry, that's wasteful. Renee is teaching me all the stuff. So, does anybody have any questions about any of this? Now, if anybody is not able to fill out a survey, but they want to fill one out, please let me know. I will sit with you and patiently go through everything you want check marked and everything you want circled, and write notes and whatever you want. Obviously, that gives away anonymity, but if that's what you need, I'd be happy to do that. For anybody who's watching this video who couldn't come to church, There will be physical copies of these left at church, and I will also include them in the Yahoo group if I'm able to learn how to attach things to it. And if I'm not, I will put them on Facebook, or you can email me, and I can email them to you one at a time, however you need it. Because your feedback is everything. Your voice is important. Yes, ma'am.
Can you ask about the children's advocacy? Casa had raised her hand, but
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Okay, I had looked it up, I lost it. It basically says here that, let me pull it back up real quick again. It supports children of abuse and to help prevent and educate those based on
Casey Reddy did that.
Okay.
Which one is this?
child advocacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Could you repeat that one more time a little bit louder?
Well, I did it from memory, so I'm not sure if I can. But children's, it's basically to help folks give information on children who are victims of abuse, so it's education and prevention to help those children.
And Casey was a very active volunteer doing that.
There are two different organizations. One is a CASA, that's Court Appointed Special Advocate Program. I was a volunteer for that for several years. The other is the Children's Advocacy Organization. It's a group there based in Manchester. It provides a safe place for children to be taken and interviewed by police or whoever, anonymously and properly. So the Children's Advocacy Program, that is different than the CASA.
Yeah.
Children's Advocacy, court appointed special court appointed advocate. That is a different program than the Children Advocacy Program. Both
Okay.
are based in that.
Yeah.
One is basically a volunteer program led by professionals. The other is almost totally professionals.
Yeah.
Okay.
CASA is mostly volunteer led.
Okay.
We've had a speaker from the Children's Advocacy Center here a couple of times.
Has it been recorded? Do you know?
What's that?
Was it recorded?
Maybe.
Okay. Could we
What I
maybe see if we can
recall
find that? Okay.
They basically intervene in cases or provide support in cases of abuse or
Well, as the program director, because Kelly's already been here, I probably wouldn't go back to Haven of Hope and ask a guest speaker to come in from that organization. But if there's somebody who came in before we started recording, then I would probably want them to come back so that we had a recorded talk, so that if anybody did have any questions, we had some type of record of kind of that organization.
As I recall, they were thrilled to come and speak.
There you go.
CASA
And-
would be very happy to come also, by the way.
sure.
There you go.
The director of CASA is a black lady who is extremely professional. She's been in it about 10, 12 years. She's a great speaker.
Awesome. I'll definitely look into that.
Their office is in Manchester. And their office is in Manchester.
Okay. All right, and that's an awesome idea. If you do have guest speakers that you want to send to me, Charity sent me a speaker from the farm that we really wanted to get here. So I'm going to be reaching out to them. If you have any other speakers, that's why I asked. If you have guest speakers that you really want to get here, or organizations you want to learn about, that's what we do. That's what I do. And I'm very happy to serve you in that way, because this is not about me. I know that sounds weird, me being the talker, but it's not about me. It's about what you guys want. Yes, Ms. Pat?
So SJMM is the UU group that Cynthia sort of heads up for us, right?
Yes, ma'am,
So
but
we
that's
have
not
another
the...
social justice group that's in-house, is that that you all are working on, is that right? We have another committee?
The Social Action Committee
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
one that will be looking particularly at what we can do as a church. They will work with the group that Cynthia is a part of, because that's a Tennessee-wide organization that they're working on building up. But hopefully we will have representatives from our Social Action Committee that will be a part of the group that Cynthia is a part
Well,
of.
one big issue of the Social Action Committee is to decide how much we should donate to, and in what form we donate to the charities, pick the ones that we can have an impact on.
And one of the things that we've talked about is we've also talked about the idea of, rather than just giving monetary donations, which are sometimes awesome, we've also talked about having work days where we work for different organizations as they need volunteers. So we might pick a day and be like, okay, this day we're going to go over to Animal Harbor or the animal, what did I just say?
Shelter.
Animal shelter, and help them clean. Or if they need paint, like what Kelly was talking about with Haven of Hope, maybe they want to have a paint day. They need volunteers. We would help them out in organizing that. So it's, yes,
I was
ma'am?
gonna say right after potluck or something, we could just, go as a group and go out there and help.
Take a nap first.
We've already been fed.
Bingo.
Yeah, you've been fed, you just
No, I need a nap after that. Yes,
more
sir.
likely.
In terms of donations, for some such things like for Alzheimer's Association, Lucy organizes for a walk, Alzheimer's walk. So each person makes a donation especially for that.
Right.
And similarly, for the Imagination Library, when the call comes, we all make donations just for that. So these are special events.
Right.
So we've been doing it for many years.
Well, I'm on the board with the Alzheimer's Association. I'm new team recruitment. So that is one of the things that I picked up this year was I wanted to get more involved in that organization. And so absolutely we want to recognize and say thank you to what's been done.
We have been doing the work for a long time. And Lucy announces when it is, and we all give her a checks, and she gives to the organization.
Right. I'm not negating what anyone else has done. I'm looking at if we want to do more or how we want to change how we're supporting that organization if we want to. So it's not I honor and respect everything that's been done thus far. This is not a stride towards what we need to do to improve. This is gauging the temperature of where we are. But I appreciate that comment very, very much. Any other thoughts? Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to ask of you is I'm going to ask you to give me a little bit of grace. Because it is easy when a survey like this comes out, it is easy to get what is called hurt butt syndrome. And what that is it's easy to feel like toes are being stepped on. And please understand, I just want to state as clearly as I can, that the best possible intent is going out with this survey. We honor and respect every person and every contribution that they have made to this Unitarian Universalist Church and in our communities. Please do not think that I'm trying to dishonor those. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get your information so that we can distribute it out to us as a church so that we can figure out where we are and where we want to go. And as we move into this new chapter, we can look at what we're doing incredibly, and what maybe we can improve upon. And I'm sure that's going to be the focus of a lot of what we're doing over the next couple of months. I know that that will be what we focus on at the retreat. So please, 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 I beg of you, don't feel like I'm trying to hurt anything that we've done thus far. Okay? And I'm not trying to step on toes. Everything that I get will be redistributed to everybody else. There's nothing that's going to, other than names, unless you want your name out there. But, so, okay? Thank you guys so much for letting me do this. I really appreciate you. We're going to take a few minutes, grab coffee and whatnot, and I'm going to let Charity wrap it up.